Okay, when I go back a little bit to the Nigeria Stock Exchange market capitalization, and of course we just made some a bit of a corrections there. The equity cap capitalization is 12.913 trillion naira, and the bond capitalization was also 7.870 trillion naira. So we've just made that. It's only the ETF that is much smaller. That's 6.482 billion naira. So if you got a pen and paper, you can just do that. We've just made these corrections. Thank you, Wale Olusi, bringing that to our attention on Twitter as we speak. Thank you very much for watching the program and keeping an eye on everything that we say and do. Let's get to the market. Yesterday, 40 oil made a very strong showing, nearly 9%. The shares now started going north after we've seen a number of weeks, and folks were asking, what's the news around 40 oil? Yesterday, we chewed about that a little bit earlier on the program towards the end of the show yesterday, that 40 oil. Now, this company, 40 oil, will be one of the power generation companies, got a bit of Geregu, one of the Geregu plant is owned by 40 Oil, a major asset for that integrated energy trader. We're part of those that will be sharing the $64.63 million US monies that will now recovered from Benin and Niger Republic. But of course, that's the share price yesterday, heading back towards 48 naira per share. Cornell was unchanged. Pt.1 PLC added 7.84%. That should be a green as well. That was a green shoot to 165. MRS was unchanged, 27.46. Wando, of course, the legal battle is still there between the energy trader, the SEC, and the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Seplat was unchanged. Total was a negative 0.01. That's how those big seven stacked up. But again, back to the electricity story. The Honorable Minister in charge of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, yesterday says Nigeria has now recovered $64.63 million US, which were debt owed to Nigeria by the governments of Benin Republic and Niger. So what happens to this money? It will now be shared. The bulk electricity trader called NBET is the one that gets all the power generations together, pick it from there and knows who produced what. So this money will be shared, and NBET will work out the modalities for how to distribute this $64.63 million to the power generation companies. And I haven't done the Naira conversion, but that looks like a lot of money there for the Gencos. And that perhaps will help us resolve some of the problems plaguing Nigeria's immediate problems of money when it comes to the power sector. The meeting which the Power Minister held with the power companies yesterday also discussed the court-approved settlement secured, which he says was secured November the 9th, I think it's sometime last week, over the meter supply contract. Metering has been one of the most naughty problems in the Nigeria's electricity transition market that started a few years ago. Now, the Power Minister says 37 billion naira money is now ready for meter supply by contractors to power distribution companies, of course, based on independent agreement. If you're a disco and you don't have what it takes to supply meters, then you have a contractor who will supply that for you, and they can step ahead after the regulator, the NERC, provides regulation on how this money can be assessed. Meantime, the Honorable Minister also says that letters have been sent from his office to all the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, the governors, to support the power firms in matters relating to the right-of-way to expand distribution lines. Remember, this is also one of the very serious problems when the power firms want to expand their distribution lines. Sometimes there is a problem with the right-of-way. You've got to know where you put all those power lines. And now the Prime Minister says is seeking the cooperation of all the 36 state governors to allow right-of-way to expand the distribution lines for the 11 kVA and 33 kVA power systems. So you just try all in the efforts to make sure power comes to industries and they bring power to the people. No, not that power, electricity. That's what I mean. Now, the world of commodities. Adimo Kwesa, one of the analysts at Financial Derivatives Company. Good morning. It's good to have you. Some good news from electricity, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very good news. It's very good news.
Yes.
$65 billion
$1
recovered. Yeah, but
That's
the hope is that this money is actually used to expand their capacity rather than pay off their debt.
Yes. That's a very hard one. No, don't take sides yet. Don't take sides. Because if you owe in banks as a Genco and you haven't paid, and the banks heard that you're sharing $64 million, they're going to come out, they're going to send some guys in some nice cars sitting at your reception. So it's going to be a tough one between the creditors to the Gencos and the power companies. Who should pay first? Pay your debtors or expand your capacity to deliver more power?
Well, this is kind of like a chicken and egg situation. In my opinion, I think the Gencos should expand their capacity, generate more revenue, and through that, they can now pay off.
Nobody's going to pay higher electricity tariffs, so it's going to be a little bit tough.
It is. It's a tough situation.
It's a tough one. It's an egg and chicken. We don't know what to do. But of course, this money will be shared.
Yes.
But I'm sure right now, phone calls are going on between the banks, those who are investors and lenders, and say, hey, we had $64 million is being shared. We got to know first you need to pay up what you're owing. Yes, but that's one good news on that side.
It is.
But in terms of the burning economic issues, I think a quarter of issues, a number of issues cross my attention in terms of, let's go for some good news today, shall we?
Okay, let me start off. Let me start off with some good news. I think the big positive is Brent price is still, although it's down marginally to $62, I think it's still very good news. Tensions in the Middle East will continue to support the market, I beg your pardon. And why I say this is different, because now we're seeing we've seen this history, this long-running Cold War between Saudi Arabia and Iran. But now, I think under the stewardship of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, I think Saudi is being more aggressive, being more audacious towards Iran. And I remember, I think earlier this year, we said a potential war in the Middle East might spark oil